Good morning, Tehmina Khan is here in TKMaths S1. In today's video, I'll explain to you a concept of normal distribution, which is a part of the syllabus of A-level mathematics S1, paper 6 till 2019. Now it is paper 5 from 2020 because M2 has been removed from A-level maths. So this question I've taken from November 19, variant 6.3 question 4. Of course, it doesn't explain the whole concept, but very important concept, and it is a challenging question for most of the students. So before I begin, you can see on the top my website address and my blog address. Do visit it. You will find all the videos which I have uploaded, and there are many other information which will be useful for you. So let's begin with the question. In this question, they're talking about the height of students at a mainland college, which is normally distributed with mean 148 centimeter and standard deviation 8 centimeter. And the probability that a student chosen at random has a height less than 8 centimeter is 67%. 0.67 mean 67%. So you have to find that height. Less than that height, the number of students who have less than height than that is 67%, right? So we will see second part of the question later. So let's focus on this part of the question. Let's find out the height. So that 67% of the students have height less than that centimeter. Okay. So first of all, we are defining our random variable x, what it is representing, height of students. And it's a normal distribution. So we know the parameters are mu and variance. So you're writing the normal distribution here with parameters 148 mean and 8 is the standard deviation. So variance will be 8 square. Now the question which was in word, I have written it in mathematical notation. So it is probability of x less than 8 centimeter is 0.67 or 67%. Visually, it means, because you know the normal distribution has bell-shaped graph, it is symmetrical graph. So 67%, if this is the probability, then what is the height here? This is the question, right? What is the height here? So now, first of all, we will change this x into z. The reason is, if you want to find the value of h here, you need to know the value of z here, which you will read from normal standardized table. So that's why you need z value at this point, okay? So that's why I'm changing the symbol of x into z. And you know the formula, if you remember, the formula was what? Z is equals to x minus mu divided by standard deviation, right? So whenever we change into standard deviation, the value of z, we use this formula. So this is my x value, this is my mean, and this is my standard deviation, which is 8. So now, after using this, I have to find out this value of h here. So coming back to the diagram, I need to find out this z value. If I will know this z value, I can plug in here and I can get h, right? So that's why I'm putting this whole thing equals to z, because whatever height I will get, I will say less than that. So I will use that inequality symbol later. So right now I'm putting equals to symbol here to make an equation and get the value of h. So now, how to calculate z? Do you remember how to read z table? I have just taken few values here. When you will see the standard normalized table, standardized normal table, you will see where 0.67 is written, because your probability is this. If it is available there as it is, in this case it was just like this, otherwise you know how to read it, I have taught in my other videos. Anyway, so you will read here the z value, which is in 1 decimal place. Here it is given 2nd decimal place, and here it is given 3rd decimal place. In this case, I don't need a 3rd decimal place. So because the probability is 67%, which is exactly present here, so I will see 1st decimal place is 0.4, 2nd is 4, so it will give me the value of z as 0.44. So I have plugged in place of z this value, And then I'm simply doing manipulation and calculation, and I got 152. So it means the value here, this H value is 152. It means 67% of the students in Maryland College have height less than 152 centimeter. Does this make sense? I hope so. So let's see next part of the question. So the next part of the question saying, if you select or choose 120 students, then how many students out of 120 will have height within half a standard deviation of the mean? Right? I'm repeating. If you pick up 120 students, then out of 120 students, how many students will have height within half a standard deviation of the mean? So let's see is visually, what does it mean? So let's see here. This is my mean. If I say within half of the standard deviation, so half of the standard deviation mean half multiplied by standard deviation. So mean plus half and mean minus half. So this is the probability I have to calculate, because this will give me the probability of height within half a standard deviation of the mean, and I'll multiply that probability by 120 to know how many students have height within this standard perimeter. So now, if you see here, what is your standard deviation? It was 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And your mu was 148, which is given to you in the question, right? It was given 148. So now, if you add 4 in 148 and subtract 4, this is the value of x you get. Is it clear? How did I calculate? I will come to the direct conclusion also, but I'm giving you the background. How do we calculate it? What is the reason behind it? So mu plus half of the standard deviation. Mu is 148. The standard deviation is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 148 plus 4 and 148 minus 4. So this is how we got the value of x. So it means we have to calculate the probability within this limit. Okay. So now again it is in x. I will change it into z. And you know the formula of z is x minus mu divided by standard deviation. So now if you see, you get minus half and plus half. So straight away also, when you read the question that within half a standard deviation, you could write it here, but I wanted to explain it to you, the reason, how does it work out. And if you see the marking scheme, they also award 1 mark for this all steps. So it's better you show all these steps. Do not keep anything in your head only. Transform everything onto the paper. Anyway, so now I know the z value at this point and this point. So I have to calculate this probability now. So before I show you, let's have a discussion here. We know when we read the z table, it always gives us probability of the left-hand side of z value. So if I have to calculate this green probability here, it means all this probability which is on the left-hand side of 0.5 z value, and I will minus this probability to get this. Am I clear? I'm repeating from this black line. If you see the whole probability on this side, if from this whole probability you minus this white portion, you will get green portion. So this is what I'm doing here now. I'm writing probability of z less than half minus probability of z less than minus half, right? This is half here and this is minus half. So I'm saying this whole minus this. Now let me tell you one thing. Students usually get confused by the inequality symbol. Mostly they ask that the inequality here is z greater than minus half, whereas I'm writing here z less than minus half. So try to understand. In this red what I have written, I'm talking about the interval between two things. So I'm saying from here till here, right? So that's why I'm writing more than this, less than this. But when I'm writing in this form, it's the same thing, but writing in a different way. I am saying this whole minus this. So that's why I'm using the left hand side probability is less, right? You get my point? So I'm not copying down symbol from here, I'm using a concept here. Okay, so now let's read this. Probability of z less than minus half, less than half. So just the way I have told you how to read the table, you will read and you will see this value of z there, 0.6915. So it means this whole probability, the white portion, is basically 0.6915 because I read it against 0.5 minus probability of z less than minus half. Now in the table, minus half is not given to you, right? Because the table Cambridge provides us in the exam does not have z negative value. So that's why we have to use the concept of symmetry. So whatever the probability of this white portion is the same as here. Agreed? So now to find out this white portion, I will find out this white portion. So if this is minus 0.5 and this is plus 0.5, what we will do? You see what I have written here? 1 minus probability of z less than half. Why? Z less than half is this whole probability. And 100% probability under the graph is 1. So I'm saying 1 minus this part will give me this red part. So that's why I'm just writing this whole probability in this form because of the symmetrical concept, right? And we have just calculated here from the table that the probability of z less than half is 0.6915. So I'm plugging in here the value. And then I'm doing simple calculation and I got 0.383. So this green probability that the height is in between half of the standard deviation of the mean is 0.383. But what we had to do, you remember in the question it was saying there are 120 students. So out of 120 students, how many will have this probability of height? So that's why we will multiply it by 120. So we can say that 46 students have height within half a standard deviation of the mean. Basically, this concept is little difficult for students to understand. I have tried my level best. Now let me tell you another way of doing it, right? If you don't want to learn the other way, you can stop the video, but it's better if you have different ways or different angles of looking at the question. Now, see, we were finding out this green probability, right? And we found out that probability of z less than 0.5 is 0.695. Agreed? We found this out. Now we know from here that this portion and this portion, because this is your mean center line, right? So the area this side is 0.5, area this side is 0.5. So these two probabilities are equal. So what I'm doing now are telling you that if you know the probability less than 0.5 is 0.6915, this whole thing. So from this whole thing, if I minus 0.5, it means this whole portion, if I subtract, I will get only this portion, which is 0.195. So once I find this portion or this portion, I just need to double it, right? So I will double it now and I will get this green probability, which is 0.383. So just repeating, once I know the whole probability on the left hand side of 0.5, I subtract 0.5 because this mean is in the center. I got this point, this probability, and doubling it, right? So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have learned something. If yes, please press like and subscribe button and bell icon. You will get the indication of my new videos. Take care. Allah Hafiz. See you soon in the next video.